Good morning and welcome to Better Thyself segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We as human beings interact on a daily basis, no, on every hourly, every second, and we talk. But do we realize ever the power of the word? The words used by us have a huge potential and are in fact the core of our daily behavior. But unfortunately, we are not aware of the power of the creative speech. The power of the creative speech can be gauged from the fact that Bible says in the beginning was a word. The word was God. If the word is God, the word that we use, do they represent the wisdom, the profundity, the depth, profoundness of God? And in Indian civilization, we call it Shabad Brahm. It's the parent and essence of all existence, both living and non-living. Shabd, the word. So whether you take a Bible or you take up the Indian Vedas, you would find that the word is equivalent to God. Brahm is the eternal spirit, the transcendental, non-dual awareness, and slumbering, sleeping within the silence of Brahm is pulsating energy that is Shabad, or the sound, and that follows a rhythm of potential and kinetic expressions. Unfortunately, we use words indiscriminately, meaninglessly, and those words which are full of transcendental, non-dual awareness, potential and kinetic expressions go waste. And that's why you see when you are conversing, some people keep you hooked with their talk. Others don't. You see, the kinetic quality of Brahm emerges, it becomes Brahma the creator. Brahma's breath emanates as the Shakti of Om. Mythology Om recognizes Om as the mother of learning, goddess Saraswati. And that's why in Rig Veda it's called Vak Suktam. Vak is talk. Vak Shakti, the power of speech, has been described to be the empress who rules the universe. So if for the gods and the goddesses, word is important, the power of speech is important, why not for us? The spectrum of presence ranges from inspiration to revelation, and that the words are. They can inspire you, they can reveal you, and they can bring your thoughts to articulate speech. So you have got to recognize the Vak Shakti, the power of speech, the power of the words. Vak Shakti as a language is a bridge of communication. We use words for both in our internal and external dialogue, and sometimes in unconscious purging of our subconscious. However, when an individual silences the useless chat of the mind, then the power of the word is revealed in full beauty. Now, the words themselves are used in prayers. They are used in mantras. What is mantra after all? It's a divine archetype. It's a God, conscious, alive, and brimming with creative poetry. Repeating a mantra invokes the quality of the God, or Devta, angel, and opens the different paths of fulfillment. So the words contained in the mantra are opening the paths. It's the same words we use in our daily intercourse, and then invoke their power. How creative you would be. Patanjali summarizes the attainment of the power to materialize one's word into reality. He writes, when one is established in truthfulness, one ensures the fruition of the action. So your words are basically the pathway to authenticity. Even the profane words of a truthful person become a mantra and they bear fruit. So, does your speech bear fruit? Is it Vak Siddhi? That's the most important. And Vak Siddhi means attainment of the power of creative speech. Both the curses and the blessings uttered by such a person come to pass. And here, there's a very interesting story in Indian mythology, that of Trishanku. Trishanku was a king of Iskavya dynasty, and the story is related in Valmiki's Ramayana. Trishanku approached the Rishi Vishwamitra, expressed his desire to ascend to heaven in his bodily form, not as soul, but in his body. It is the sheer words of Vishwamitra words, go to the heaven, through which Trishanku ascended to occupy a heaven created just for him. The power of the words of Vishwamitra was so much that Trishanku could break all the barriers and let his body enter into heaven. Of course, the heaven was created for him specifically. However, the words being established in the truthfulness divine, being put into a box and labeled, they cannot be labeled. Patanjali uses Sanskrit word prajna. Prajna is the truth-bearing wisdom. Prajna is the highest wisdom that dawns when one has realized one's true self. So your words reflect your personality. It is a holistic amalgam of objective reality of a situation and subject to the inner stirring associated with it. Such insightful wisdom is revealed in your words, gives the individual an ability to hold even diametrically contrary aspects of the situation, a person with gentleness and respect. So the essential qualities are honesty, authenticity, gentleness, respect, compassion. When the knower's consciousness encompasses, penetrates, and fuses with the consciousness of the known, then it reaches across the ages. The truth of an entity is realized, becoming one. Now, Prajna is like a multifaceted diamond that reflects all aspects of truth. So your words reflect different aspects of truth. They are what you are and what you should be. An individual who develops this capability can, as a matter of fact, transcend the fixed framework of opinions created by the self-serving, manipulative people. In Sanskrit, they say such a person gets exalted to the position of Vashpati, the lord of the creative speech. And Saraswati, the goddess of learning, has her abode where? On the tongue of the Vashpati. Every word he utters is a mantra for the connected. Now, if you look at it, it's the mum and the dad of all existence. And that is what is important. So, your creative speech. But the point comes where you've got to realize that the Vak Shakti, the power of the speech, has to be used in a proper manner. The common saying is that you can heal the wounds of a sword, but you cannot heal the wounds of the tongue, of the words, of the language. But the same language which can wound can heal all the lacerated, wounded souls. And that is important. So, if you really want to be creative in your speech, if you want to attain that pinnacle of expression, creativity, then you have got to develop authenticity. Each word that you use, each syllable that is uttered, has to be seeped into honesty, integrity, authenticity. Words used without meaning are just wastage of your creative energy. As a good talker, as a good conversationalist, as a good speaker, you have got to dovetail the honesty, and that is like the sun in a foggy morning. It dissipates the fog. Secondly, there has to be some logic, even if it's perverted, it's a material. I'm not saying don't be illogic, don't be have perverted logic. But even perverted logic is welcome than no logic at all. Whatever you say must have a base for something to stand on. Thirdly, it should, even if you are abusive, you should have compassion even in the abuse. For example, compassion is for yourself. If you think that the abuse is misdirected, then you are harming yourself, your inner self, and your capacity to build bridges would be diminished. What I mean is that when you are speaking, see that your words should not hurt at least those people who have nothing to do with it. If you really want to be harsh, be harsh. But there's a difference between saying something and the tone. Now, what we do normally is that our tonal differences that are not recognized by us. If you can differentiate between the tonal way and the word, so the tone, the sound, and the flow of the words is important, you have got to realize it. Of course, I'll come to it in a different episode as well, how to develop that. But the most important thing is be logical, be reasonable, and try to communicate in a manner not that is hectoring, but that is logical. As I said earlier, the logic may be misconceived, may be misplaced, but even that logic is better than no logic at all. Another thing you have got to understand is that when you use your words, you have got to use words not to express any thought. It should be there, but then any thought which is not related to the conversation piece, the centerpiece. Always your expression should be modulated by the purpose of being creative. Even in abuse, even if you are insulting, even when you are fighting, you should be creative when you are fighting even. You see, unfortunately, we trivialize everything, whether our victories or our defeats, whether our loving or our fight. That trivialization is something which has got to be negated. So until you realize the power of the creative speech, as I said, even the Bible, even the Vedas say, the power of the word can make a marvel. So be careful, develop the capability to recognize the value of each syllable that you're going to utter, because that would identify you and either make you a hero or make you a zero. Choice is yours. And I remember a story, a king was going and he lost his way. So he sent his soldier to ask somebody, and the soldier reached a mendicant and asked him, "Hey, can you tell me the way out?" The saint just smiled and ignored him. He got very angry. He said, "I'll smash your head, I'll put you in a prison." He still didn't say anything, so he went back. Then came the minister. The same thing happened. He said, "You should know the king is supreme, and if you don't tell the way to the king, it's treason." The sage smiled. Then the king came and said, "Holy Lord, holy sage, if I don't disturb your contemplation, could you please guide me to the nearest way so that we can reach home?" And the sage said, "King, sit down, have some rest, and then I'll show you the way." And he showed him the way. So, the moral story is your words which identify you. The haughtiness is welcome, provided it is a result of your conviction. But assumed haughtiness, which is not your own. The soldiers' haughtiness or the minister's haughtiness was that they were speaking from a position of power which was not their own. It emanated from the king. And the king didn't have the need to be haughty because he was the king and he knew that he can be harsh, but why be harsh? So this is creative speech. If the soldier said, "My lord has lost the way, sir, can you guide?" the sage would have told him. But threatening? So the same thing, words, the tone changes and your work is done. So realize the power of creative speech. And let me tell you, the word is yours. Nothing can stop you from winning. Thank you.